Like an angel in the morning, shooting star across the night. The most beautiful girl I've seen in all my life. Every second spent with you, it's like a day that starts brand new. Girl, I'm so amazed at all the things you do. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and for always. Girl, you are my sunshine, baby, don't you go away. I want me, all over me, already alive. I will love you forever. I want me, all over me, already alive. I will love you forever. I hear music in your words and in the way you call my name. When you call my side, I can't do anything. You're my best friend, Lord, my lover. Without you, no one else would do. Through thick and thin, I know we'll make it true. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and for always. You are my sunshine, baby. I want me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. I want me, all over me, already alive. I will love you forever. My baby, you are my sunshine, my lover, my essence. There's no one like you. My baby, you are my sunshine, my lover, my essence. There's no one like you. You are me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. Oh, me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. My sugar, my honey, my lover, I will love you forever. My baby, my lover, and my best friend, I will love you forever. I place no one above you. I will love you forever. I promise to always love you, baby. I will love you forever. And there's no one other comes close. I will love you forevermore. Ever and ever and evermore. I will love you forever. Cause you are my baby, my sunshine. I will love you forever. And when there's nothing more to say, I will love you forever. Forever and ever and ever and ever. Like an angel in the morning, shooting star across the night. The most beautiful girl I've seen in all my life. Every second spent with you, it's like a day that starts brand new. Girl, I'm so amazed at all the things you do. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and for always. Girl, you are my sunshine, baby, don't you go away. I want me, all over me, already alive. I will love you forever. beauty in your words and in the way you call my name. When you come inside, I can't do anything. You're my best friend, you're my lover. Without you, no one else would do. Through thick and thin, I know we'll make it true. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and far away. My sunshine, baby. Yeah, I want me all over me, around me, around me. See, I will love you forever. Yeah, I want me all over me, around me, around me. I will love you forever. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. You are me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. Oh, me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. My sugar, my honey, my lover. I will love you forever. My baby, my lover, and my best friend. I will love you forever. I place no woman above you. I will love you forever. I promise to always love you, baby. I will love you forever. And there's no one other girl to love. I will love you forevermore. Ever and ever and evermore. I will love you forever. Cause you are my baby, my sunshine. I will love you forever. And when there's nothing more to say, I will love you forever. Forever and ever and ever and ever. I will love you forever.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much for joining today as we continue our discussion on the anatomy of relationship and marriage. This is part 3 of the subtopic on parenting. Youth of the generation are faced with the great challenge of choosing a life partner. Many have followed practice and not principle, and this has led to a situation where we have a high rate of divorce and paternity for the many marriages. So the goal of this program is to help everyone that will be listening to it, either as we have it today or in future, to get it right in this part of their life, a very critical area of their life. Unfortunately, many people are not getting it right. And I was listening to the wife of Obama today, and someone was playing the video on Instagram. I saw the video on an Instagram page of someone, and he said, there must be compromises, and that sometimes you have to slow down on our career and put it like 70% in the relationship to make it work because of what she wanted to see in the family. Then I saw another video of someone, husband and wife, saying, when they got married to themselves, in this relationship, there are no windows, there are no doors. And they were asking themselves, if we are together in a room where there are no windows, where there are no doors, if fire break out, we will fight to put it out. Because there's no way to run out. But immediately you create windows and doors, you create a room to go out. This is not to say that people should stay in an abusive relationship, which is why you also be very careful who you are choosing. So you don't stay in a relationship that's abusive. But when you marry someone that is abusive, it's already an issue. I mean, that's already a challenge with your decision-making system to be able to read people and understand their character before you get married in the future. Abuse should not be tolerated for any reason. There are people that separate or they're divorced, not because of abuse. They give an example of what is called irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable differences. So life is not threatened, there's no abuse, but they just have differences that is irreconcilable. It's amazing. Irreconcilable differences. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You will hear some uncommon idea about marriage in this series. Please know that these are based on facts, research, and even scriptures and science in some cases. They will help you align with current reality of our time. Listen with open mind. Also go back to check some of the things that we share to be sure those things are so. So today we're looking at part 3 of parenting under this topic, anatomy of relationship and marriage. The goal of a parent, whenever a child misbehaves, is to restore back the child to their identity and reinforce it in them, who they are. This means, as a parent, my child should have an identity. Remember, train up a child in the way you should go. What is the way that you have identified that the child should go? What is the way that you have identified that the child should go? The moment a child can master its identity and become comfortable in that identity, your job is done. So that means you must carve an identity. Who are you trying to produce? What are you trying to develop? I tell my son, you are a light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. You're a trailblazer. You're a pathfinder. You're a solution provider. You're an inventor. That's the picture I paint for him, so he can understand his identity. What picture are you painting? Some will tell them, say they are really raising king. Some will say they are raising royalty. Whichever one you want. Have an identity. There can be someone called an identity code or moral compass. The idea basically is that the children must know who they are and what should characterize who they are. Immediately they accept it, they now know that if I want to become this, these are the set of characters, behaviors that must not be found in me. These are the ones that must be found in me. And the reason is because misbehavior is either because when a man misbehaves, it's either caused by issue of non-discovery of self or non-remembrance of self. You know, I love the way an author couched this. Non-remembrance of self. If you see yourself as a light of the world, there's some things you will not do because you already have a mental image of the kind of person you are. That means you also have an idea of how you should behave. So, lack of discovery of self or remembrance of self is a major challenge why children misbehave. So, who do we say we are, and what does that mean exactly? Who do we say we are? And what does that mean exactly? Who do we say we are? And what does that mean exactly? The lack of intentionally articulated identity creates crisis. The lack of, even for an adult, whatever you do, why are you doing it? You're working. Why are you working? Just to make money? Why are you working? If it's just about money, if it's just about money, that means you don't have an identity. Because every decision you take as a human should be based on your identity. The future you see, the future you hope to achieve. Also, let them know why they are here, what does society mean to them, and who they are representing on the earth. Let them know about their heritage, their history, where their lineage is coming from, particularly as Black and as Africans. First of all, you must know you didn't come to the world by yourself. You were sent to this world by God, and there's a reason why you are here. And you must not lose sight of that. There's a reason why you're here, and you must not lose sight of that. If you lose sight of that, you're lost. You just be doing things for the sake of doing it. You don't be doing things for the sake of doing it. Not because you have an ideal in mind that you really want to achieve. The best template of parenting is our present report. The best that the old template of parenting has given is our present report card, which you see in Africa, African leaders and society in general. So if there's anything you are seeing today in Africa, sincerely, this is the report card of our parent. This is the report card of our parent. This is the report card of our parent. So when you see Africa, the way Africa is, this exactly is the report card of our parent. This exactly is the report card of our parent. This is the report card of our parent because what we have become was based on what they exposed us to. And sincerely, this report card is not nice at all. This report card is not nice at all. To create a new future, we must embrace a new parenting system or style that can grow a new community, a new system or style that can grow a new community. And this is important, a new system or style that can grow a new community. So you need to observe your child. That is why you do not take position from age 0 to 3 of whom the child is. Remember, one of the 3 cardinal job of a parent: discovery of the child, development of the child, and deployment of the child. Discovery, development, and of course, deployment. So you need to observe your child very well. Do not label your child. Do not allow others to label your child also. There was an example of a boy reported to the dad that is destructive because he will collect other people's pencil, that's pencil of his colleague, and break them. Then the dad asked, what does he do with the pencil when he collects it? They said he used to play drum. This same boy today has risen to become a leader, a band leader in his school. So the pencil breaking was the playing of drum, trying to find expression. But they call the child a destroyer, a vandal for destroying pencil. So they call your child liars, or thief, or stubborn. They call your child troublesome, and you accept the label and reinforce it without investigating to know how. You need to create a perceptual code for your child. That is what every family must do for their children. You need to let your child know our family is dash. What is our family about? What's our family about? Like I said earlier, I tell my son, you're the light of the world, you're the salt of the earth, you're a pathfinder, a trailblazer, a solution provider. A solution provider. What is the perceptual code? Who are you raising? Immediately you decide what perceptual code is for your children in your family, then you must then ask yourself, who must I become to raise a child that will be a solution provider? Who must I become to raise a child that is a trailblazer and a pathfinder? Who must I become? Who must I become? I need to know who I must become. Else, I won't be able to help the child to achieve that objective. Because it's important to know that you can't give what you don't have. It's only he that is well that can donate blood. So you need to do a research to know who the parent of those you want your child to become have become, or who are they? What have they become? This perceptual code, and you start finding, then help you to script your child in a particular way, in the way you should go. Train up a child, script a child, mold a child, initiate a child, train a child, guide a child, direct a child in the way you should go. And when it's old, you will not depart from it. If you become who you need to become, you'll be able to help the child to become who he needs to become. So please note that behavioral problem need a behavioral solution. It does not respond to beating or shouting. You need to learn to have decent conversation with your child. Help them to find a way to channel their energy when they become energetic and unstable, instead of beating them. It's also important for you to know that you need to be a student of your child to overcome him, to understand him rather. Study him so you can be an approved parent who is able to model the child in the way he should go. With this, you can design a user manual that helps you maximize his strength. Help you to know how to cover of his weaknesses also. Also identify the opportunity available for him based on your discovery and help him guard against the threat that he will be facing in his life journey. Someone will call that SWOT analysis. Just the way you do SWOT analysis for business, you should do it for your child. Identify his strength. Help him to amplify it. Identify his weaknesses. Help him to cover it up. Identify opportunity and position him for it. I know this can be done through training. Identify threat and protect him for it. This will help you to understand what they need to watch, what they must avoid watching on TV. You also need to monitor where they need to go and where they must avoid going. This is because their eyes and their ears are gateway to their heart. What they see, what they hear is sowing seed in their heart. And this will grow someday. And this thing they are seeing is either reinforcing the perceptual code or destroying it. Either reinforcing the perceptual code or destroying them. This, in summary, help you to protect their environment. Because of the journey from environment to action. Remember, environment creates experience, experience affect knowledge, knowledge affect belief system affect the things you value affect the choices you make, and the choices you make affect the action you take. Most of the cartoon character of today are already subliminally installing wrong character in your children. Subliminally installing wrong character, wrong values in your children. And this will become obvious when they become teenagers. This will become obvious when they become teenagers. Are you planning to raise a great child like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or Richard Branson? Look at what Elon Musk's mother did intentionally when he was raising up her children. Become a value-adding heritage to give options. So you must be of immense value to your children in terms of education, in terms of exposure and experience they have. Education, exposure, and experience they have. Put them to work at an early age, but don't take away their play. Let them learn how to work and earn early. Let them find their play within their work, foster relationship, and have fun while working or learning. So treat them like adults without stealing their childhood. Teach them the independence that they need to succeed in life. Let them follow their interest. Don't impose your interest on them. It does not have to do medicine because you could not get medicine, or do pharmacy or engineering or law because you could not get those courses when you were growing up. Don't get them used to luxury. Try and promote resourcefulness. Let them learn how to use what they have. Let them take responsibility for their future. Allow them to take decisions for what they would like to do. Encourage fearlessness in all things. They must not be afraid of you or your presence or your voice. Create the right environment for them to thrive and be free to do what they want to do with their life. Always remember that your child is a seed that grows, but not without some weed around it. In trying to remove this weed that are unwanted characteristics in a child, you need to be careful not to destroy them. Now, look at a woman recommending, giving advice or giving us an idea of the way he raised this phenomenal man called Elon Musk. Now, the reason why this was necessary is to see the kind of script that was used to raise this man. No wonder he thinks the way he thinks. You know, there's some children, they have such an amazing freedom in their mind. They don't see any limitation. They don't see it. Because the way they were raised, the only thing they see is possibility. The only thing they see is possibility. They are fearless, but cautious. Whatever a child becomes is what you have made them to become. Unfortunately, in our world today, not many parents are really ready to build a phenomenal child. You know, whenever you see, as a business person, I studied around international trade. And I see countries that make so much money doing international trade. And I noticed something about this country. Whatever you see in these countries is intentional. It's intentional. It's intentional. They are so intentional about the way they go about their country management that whatever you see is never by chance. It is planned, it is scripted, as in everything you see is deliberately scripted. Everything is deliberately scripted. For example, if they want their people to export more to a country that have more demand but having challenges with payment, they'll create an instrument to protect the payment of their citizens. So citizens keep producing, keep creating jobs, keep growing the country economy, and shipping to those markets. As in, there is such a high level of deliberately, such a high level effort of deliberately doing whatever you see. All you see is never by chance. It's by choice that they've made to give their people the best. The challenge for many parents today, there's no intentional effort to direct and guide the child or the children in the way it should go, unfortunately. It's so challenging. For many parents to parent their children, because parenting is a skill. You don't become a good lawyer by default. You don't become a good doctor by default. You don't become a good engineer by default. You learn sometimes 4 years, some 5 years, some 6 years, Some even after 6 years, we still go and do what is called house job. Basically, spending such a long time to become something. That's a serious issue. How then do you think can be a good husband, a good wife, a good parent? By default, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We have to be deliberate about it. We have to be deliberate about it. We must be deliberate about it. If we are not deliberate about it, what will happen is that you will get the result of not being deliberate. Someone says, parenting is an 18-year job. Whatever you see in your child after 18, it's your report card. Whatever we are seeing in society today is the report card of our parents who live before us. What their parenting style created for us. Every bad trait you see in your child is a feedback to you that you need to respond to, not react to it. When you react, you shout, you beat, you begin to say such things. Your child will begin to do such things in your absence because you didn't give them freedom to express themselves. They'll begin to tell lies. They begin to tell lies. But when you respond, you'll be free and vulnerable. They'll be free and vulnerable for you. When you are responding, they'll be free and vulnerable for you. If they are hiding anything from you, it's a sign that something is wrong with your parenting styles. It's a sign that something is wrong with the way you are going about parenting. It's a sign that something is wrong with the way you are going about parenting. If they are afraid, you need to create your educational system within your family that can promote the welfare, growth, and advancement of your child in the way it should go. Remember, the environment you create for the child determines the experience of the child, influence the knowledge of the child about life, influence the belief system of the child, influence what the child values. Some children grow up valuing learning. They don't joke in learning. They are studious. Some children grow up, they don't enjoy learning. They want to stay with the TV. They don't enjoy learning. They want to stay on social media. The child sees you, and everything you are doing is scripting him for the best or for the worst. The child will do more of what he sees you do than what you say he should do. He will do more of what he sees you do than what you say he should do. Than what you say he should do. Also, avoid abusing your child or disciplining your child in the front of those that have accused him of any wrongdoing. It's so important. I was telling someone that If my son is accused of anything, I will defend him. I would defend him. Either he's guilty or not, that's none of my problem. I would defend him. To do two things to him. To let him know that he can trust me and that I trust him. If he has done that thing, he will feel so bad that daddy is defending me for what I have done and will avoid it next time. If he has not done it, he will be happy that daddy trusts me and daddy could defend me. It's very important. Defend the child in their presence. Tell them your child can never do such a thing, especially when the child has denied that he didn't do such things. Let your child know afterward that you trust that he can never do such a thing. And that was why you have to defend him. What this does to the child is that it makes him to stop doing such thing, even if he did it before and deny, because he will not want to disappoint the trust you are putting in him. But if you decide to discipline your child in front of those that accuse him, before the accuser, you are strengthening his resolve to even do worse things, since you don't even trust him. After all, you don't trust him. So go ahead and do it. So it is very important for parents to know that our role as parents in the life of our children is changing as they grow. Now, this is another area that many parents get wrong. Some parents treat their children as if they are still children. As your child grows, as your child grows, as your child grows, please note, your role in his life should also change. A child does not need a parent when he's a teenager, because the goal of a parent is to protect. From age 0 to 3, you are to scout. So your job is to observe the child, see what he is doing, and give it an interpretation. Try to interpret it. See what he's doing and interpret it. As much as possible. If child likes singing, maybe you want to be a musician. He likes touching things with his hands, or he likes drawing. Try to begin to give interpretation to those things. At the age of 4 to 6, you are a model. You are a model. You're not observing him. He is observing you. Your job is to lead your child by example. Children do more of what they see you do and not what you say. You are a model. So if you do not read books, if you do not spend time to learn, if you are always on social media, please note your child is watching. He will soon follow suit. At the age of 7 to 9, you are an instructor. That is when you employ your domestic educational system. That is when you should learn to wash, you should learn to cook, you should learn to do homework, read, and do a lot of things for himself in the house. From 18 to 12, you are a friend to your child. This is the time a lot of parents lose their children. This is the time you need to get inducted into their world and be able to discuss with them using their own passcode and slang. That means you must learn their slang. You must learn their slang. You must be inducted into their world. So you can see how the world is changing from being a scout to be a model, to be an instructor, to be a friend. If you miss the opportunity between 10 and 12, if you miss this time, they won't find it easy to talk to you. The teenage years is only going to be very turbulent because at this age, they have a lot of secrets. One way to get inducted into their world is to ask them to teach you. Maybe dance steps, whatever is common among young people at that time. You need to gist, you need to gist, you need to gist with them. At the age of 13 to 18, you are a coach. That is, you have to present perspective to them and help them create strategy to overcome challenges. They know a lot already. Don't try to teach them. Present perspective. Present perspective. Present perspective. Why can't I have a boyfriend? Present perspective. Why can't I have a girlfriend? Present perspective. Why should I go to school? Present perspective. Let's see the reason why they should. Paint picture of those that don't go to school and what become of them. Take pictures of girls who become pregnant and lose opportunity to further their education. Paint pictures of those who have lost their life because of abortion. Paint pictures of the implication of their actions. Let them decide. For example, if they ask what is wrong with the LGBT movement, don't just condemn them. Ask them like, will they have been born and will there be perpetuation of humanity if same-sex are marrying? Present perspective. Ask them questions. Let them reason themselves. Don't see them as wayward for asking simple questions. For asking simple question. For asking simple question. And if you don't answer, they will find answer somewhere else. You will lose them completely. Please note that you can't talk to him anyhow at this time because you are still him like a baby that you gave back to. If you do, they won't talk to you again. They'll go and talk to their friends. You know, I was with my mentor last month, and I was telling me that his friends, when they have an issue with their teenagers, they will send them to him. And when he finishes talking to them, they become his friend. They can relate with him so well. They can relate with him so well. You know? They can relate with him so well. Unlike their parents not being able to relate with the children. But this man has so mastered teenagers that he has become savior for his friends who are almost losing their teenage children. From age 19 and above, you are now a cheerleader, an advisor, and a mentor. Your child is no longer obliged to listen to you at this point. But if you have done your job very well, they will listen to you because of your good influence on them. Please note that whenever you see your child in each phase of this journey, whatever you see in your child in each phase of this journey is the result of the role you play or refuse to play in their life in the previous phase. So if you see them misbehaving as a teenager, that means you were not a good instructor, you were not a good friend, you're not a good model. If you're a good instructor, a good friend, and a good model, you will have a fantastic teenage experience with them. Remember, train up a child in the way you should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. Parenting is a genius. Parenting a genius, rather. It's not just a prayer battle again, or individual parenting. It's now a battle of system, intelligence, and tribal ideology, in which the stronger and most desirable will win. So look for families that have similar ideology like yours. Co-parent your children together. Co-parent your children together. Children are not things to be molded. Children are things to be unfolded. That was just liar. He said, children are not things to be molded, they are to be unfolded. So your job is to unfold your children. As they unfold, do not get angry. Learn in the process and find what works. And find what works. And find what works. And find what works. Remember, as we round off today, that the goal of parenting is to discover, develop, and deploy the child. Remember, whenever a child misbehaves, restore him back to his identity. The moment a child masters his identity that you have created for him and is comfortable with that identity, your job is done. So what identity are you painting for your child? I give you an example. Some people will say they are building a reality. Some will say they are building kings. Some will say they are building solution provider. Some will say they are building trailblazer and pathfinder. What kind of children are you building? You should be clear. And also remember, who should you become for you to be able to get the children to become what you want them to become? Remember, train up a child in the way you should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. All right, thank you very much for joining this evening. Oh, Victor, you're the only one here today. How are you? Hello, Victor. Victor, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well, sir. I'm very well, sir. Thank you.
All right. You came late. How was?
Yes, I joined. Sir?
I said, how are you? You came late today. What did you learn today?
Yes, I went for a Euro rocket. So I I was learning about you talking about the different stages where of a child and how parents to interact or to relate with them at their level. We're talking about different ages when you are a model, when you are meant to be like a mentor, an advisor, and and how you relate with them when they offend and stuff like that. And I wanted to ask that talking about modeling, because you see that at a particular age the modeling ends, because I see people that their parents are actually like doing well, but this child is just opposite of their parents. For example, I know of like a child that, or it's not a child again anyway, but I
Define.
know of someone that our father is a
Hello?
professor.
Define doing well.
Yes, I'm with you, sir. Doing well, I mean like academically, like for example in school, my father was a professor, but this child is almost like he knows, not like he knows next to nothing, but he's struggling like like with academic serious, and I'm wondering that how can your dad be an authority in that field and you're always changing lesson teacher here and there for you. So is it that this child when he was growing up did not learn to model for the child, or is it
Point,
that modeling
point.
will not work for some kind of children?
Because if he, so for example, very stupid, he do that not at home. So the child is not used to learning because he doesn't see the parent doing it. Parents only do it maybe in their office.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear
My
me?
opinion is passing. I don't.
Can you hear me
Okay,
now?
I can hear you now, sir.
I say it's possible
Yes,
that
sir. Yes, sir.
never modeled it for the child. That the parent, the dad, for example, might be have a library in his office and he read a lot in the office, but doesn't do that at home. So the child does not see that growing up and get used to that to be able to be studious and not struggle with academic afterwards. So that's a challenge growing up. So it's possible, you know, it's one thing for me to be doing something but not doing it for my child to see me do it and be able to learn from it. Because I do it only at work, not at home. I don't know if you know what I mean. So that's a possibility I see. Hello?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm with you. So I wanted to say into that that sometimes like at the end of the day, every child has a mind of their own. Like to what extent do you do this modeling works, or is it that at a particular age you have to just change your style of parenting? And is it not that some child has more propensity to be some other kind of children than others? For example, it's like some child has the propensity of being like wayward or being um
Where did he learn?
or going haywire, because you see in a family that of like three children, you see two that are well behaved and you see one that is just something else. I am wondering that if the same family, and most times they went to the same school, of course they are in different classes, but they still went to the same school, their life are almost like together. So why is it that this child is way different from the other? And secondly, if I don't forget this question, the second question I want to ask against that is it that sometimes looking at parenting, especially in this day and age, is it not advice? Is there a recommendation of how many children people should have? Because sometimes I think that's also an important factor. But since you're even talking about marriage, because sometimes number of children sometimes can be a factor in which some couple choose to separate, especially when one partner is having one child that the other person does not want and stuff like that. So is there also a recommended number of children people should have, considering our um peculiarities, especially at this age?
I would recommend one or two. The more you, the more difficult it is to become a good parent. Because one is already a lot of work. Two is great work. Three, four, five, it's going to be challenging to be able to effectively parent those people. It's very challenging to be able to parent.
But one is too small now.
I'm not saying it's not too small. I'm only saying I said one or two. That's my recommendation. Now you don't need to accept it. You don't need to accept it. That's my recommendation. You don't need to accept it. I'm only saying that it's
So
a
how
lot.
many do you have?
One. I'm only saying that it's a lot of work. So if you are going to do two, it's okay, but can you handle it? If you can, it's more difficult to handle it right now. Top number one, raising them, taking them to school, spending money. Number two, not being able to ensure you train them in the way they should. Now, talking about two, three children grown up in a home, one behave one way, the other one behave the other way. You know, the material. No, look at what happens. Most of the time in a home, more often than not, can be wayward, and the one after, will not be. And the reason is because the first one, most of the time, is a what do you call it now? A guinea pig. A guinea pig that help the parent to be able to train the second and third well than they did for the first because of the mistake they made. So it's even though they go in the same home, they went to the same school, but they didn't have the same exposure because they were born at different times and exposed to different things as they are born at different times. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
Oh, okay.
so there are research show that the chance that the younger one become a lot more guided and well parented is higher than the first, because the first is like a guinea pig and experiment, and the second, third, or probably even the last might be the one that really, really enjoy that what it takes to parent, because the parent has now learned from the previous one. So that can account for that.
Mm. Oh, okay, sir.
All right. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, sir. I hope you are supporting France tomorrow.
Let's see. Now,
Oh, you're not watching the World Cup.